You got a feeling Concord's not going to put it in the air anymore tonight.
And to show you how dominant Concord was in that third period, they ran about 19 plays, and Kannapolis ran 7. One of those was a punt.
Your best defense is your offense sometimes. 1st and 10, 9:55 to go. The clock running in the football contest. As Fleming hands off, they just hit it straight ahead. Look at that mass of people that time moving out to the 45-yard line. The green one's on top, the gold one's on the bottom. And on the bottom was Benji Bain, 64 initially for Kannapolis. Brett Pless over there as well. Got to hand it to guys for Concord. Wayne Martin, Danny Lott, Jeff Riley, John Kuntz, Tommy Mormon. Boy, they block like they never blocked all season tonight. 2nd out and 5 coming up for the Spiders. Out of the tee, they hit it straight ahead. Irby into the secondary, spun down from behind at the Wonder 45-yard line that time. Ken Hill, 43, made the tackle, or it may have been Irby getting it to the outside as you get a chance to watch it again at home.
He just has a knack of getting in the pack and coming out of there somehow. Maybe he has such a low center of gravity, it's hard to get him down. Secondary has made a lot of tackles on Irby tonight.
I tell you, he's one of those backs, just a bruising back that you hit him and he doesn't go down. Fleming handing off again as the Concord backs are just running right at Kannapolis here with 8:50 to go. Controlling the line of scrimmage as Jerome Mason carried it that time. Keith Maxwell, 22, made the tackle. Coach Bob Boswell likes his linebackers, Kyle, to make the tackles, but certainly not in this situation. That's a bad sign.
Concord certainly controlling the line of scrimmage so far.
On top, 21-7, 8.5 minutes to go in the ball game. 2nd out and 7 coming up. Pitch back. Here comes Wallace trying to turn the corner. Brought down from behind inside the 40-yard line right in front of the Spider bench. Ken Hill, James Lott, number 15, and Keith Maxwell, 22 over there, making the hit for the Wonders.
I think Coach E.Z. Smith wanted a late hit on that one. He did not get it. It was close to it.
The ball right inside the 37-yard line. That's got to be a helpless feeling on the other side for the offensive unit of Kannapolis. They can't do a thing. Concord taking control here in the second half. Keith Maxwell, 12 tackles last week against South Rowan. He's made his share of them tonight, too. 3rd down and 1 coming up for Concord. Fleming with the keeper, got the first down inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. The center of the defensive line. Surging ahead, Bain getting up off the pile. You see Todd Griffin, 67, Darrell Steele, number 60, Keith Maxwell, 22, and Benji Bain, 64. 7.5 minutes to go. Clock running. Preston Whitley was into the backfield that time. He comes out, number 23 for Concord. Irby is back in. 1st down and 10 coming up for the Spiders. Out of the tee, Irby right side, cuts it back against the grain, goes inside the Wonder 30 to the 29-yard line. Willis Russell, 82, the defensive end, making the stop. You see another note defensively for Kannapolis. Chuck Elliott there. Had a good game. 6 minutes, 55 seconds to go. Boy, I tell you, that clock just runs. Just runs and runs and runs. And this is just a clinic almost for the Concord Spiders controlling the football game. 2nd and 5 coming up, 29-yard line. Fleming handing off once again. They run it straight ahead, trying to eat some time off of that clock. They're 6.5 minutes away from getting that bell back in Concord, Kyle. Brent Pless, 65 defensively for Kannapolis. Depending on what South Rowan does tonight against Wadesboro, we don't know what this score holds up. Kannapolis' situation will be, whether they're eliminated from the playoff contention or will be Division II representatives. Concord certainly looks to go on and meet Thomasville next week here at Bailey Stadium. They're 6 minutes away from a lot of important things. Irby, left side, look at him run. Inside the 20, down to the 19, 18-yard line. James Lott, 15, Chuck Elliott, 36. I know you don't want to keep harping on it. Irby has just probably put on the greatest single individual performance we've seen on a TV 13 game of the week all year, Kyle.
Well, he certainly has, but like you said, you've got to give a lot of credit to his running backs for blocking for him, and also his offensive line, just controlling the line of scrimmage here in the fourth quarter.
1st and 10 for Concord, 18-yard line. They've kept it on the ground, just grinding it out. Irby down to about the 16-yard line, hit and popped that time. As a Wonder defensive unit trying to stop him somehow, trying to figure out a way. Brett Pless 65, Barry Rice 25 over there. 2nd down and 8 coming up with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Paul Winston, Kyle Hampton, Buddy King, and the TV 13 crew this week at Bailey Stadium before an overflow crowd. A lot of folks braving the cold weather. Not going to miss this ball game. Handing off left side, spinning Rico Wallace. He's got the first down. Going to be close inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line. It was Barry Rice and Keith Maxwell, 22, making the hit. You folks going to get a chance to see it again. See that individual blocking after he got past the original line of scrimmage. The individual effort, I should say. Did you call that a 360, Kyle, when he spun it?
Paul Winston, this drive, 12 plays so far. It started at the 30-yard line, and it's been going on for 5 minutes now.
Boy, this is a game clincher. 3rd down and 1. Irby, right side, dives down to about the 5-yard line. Going to have that first down as we tick down to 4 minutes in the contest. Concord Spiders trying to put some icing on the cake, maybe on the bell this year for 1983, as you see the shot of the mass of Cabarrus Countyans and other counties too on hand tonight. Just really a perfect night for football. This is what it's all about. The 1983 Kannapolis Concord football game. 1st and goal, 6-yard line. Penalty markers go down before everything gets underway. Looked like Chip Harward, the tight end, number 12, may have jumped. Concord going to be guilty of illegal procedure. Kyle, I don't believe we've had very many penalties here in this ball game. This game has been very penalty-free. Trying to recall how many we had
Which is nice to see. We had 1 in the first half. We had the 15-yarder on the extra point, 1 other by Kannapolis. I think this is the 4th penalty, and that's great. Error-free football. First down, the ball just outside the 10-yard line for Fleming and company, the Concord Spiders. They hand it off. Here comes the left side. Rico Wallace, 5-1, touchdown. That's going to do it. Rico Wallace is just mobbed by his teammates in the end zone. 27-7. It comes with 3:41 to go in the ball game. That's going to be the nail in the Wonders' coffin. An old cliche. They've been going Irby. Here comes Wallace outside. Hit at the goal line, but the Wonder defense couldn't keep him out. Now Mark Davis on to attempt the extra point. He was 21-27 coming into tonight's ball game. He's missed 1 extra point tonight. The Spiders side ecstatic, to say the least. The snap, the spot. Davis's kick is on its way, and it is no good. Well, I jinxed him. 27-7, 3:41 to go in the ball game. The Spiders are in control. We'll be right back.
In Cabarrus County, there's one radio station, WEGO, that keeps you in touch locally and with the world. Radio station WEGO maintains the finest state-of-the-art broadcast equipment in order to bring you up-to-the-minute news, weather information, and entertainment. WEGO Country, 1410 AM and Vision Cable Channel 20.
We've got your country covered. WEGO.
The Concord Spiders in control. 3 minutes, 41 seconds to go in the ball game. They are up by 20 points, 27-7. And Paul Winston, what a drive that was for the Concord Spiders. Unofficially 14 plays, 70 yards. It took 7 minutes, and Rico Wallace took it in for the touchdown.
That has got to be a killer of a drive. That's just a coach's dream, I guess. Concord Spiders, 3 minutes and 41 seconds away from at least a co-championship and the Division I playoff berth. And the postseason playoffs in '83 as the kick this time goes to Rice. Up the center, bumps off a one-man, 30, 35, 40, still on his feet, bumped down at the 42, 43-yard line. And I've just got word from our producer, Greg Hamrin. We'll pass this along. Next week, Concord looks like they're ahead 20 points. Ivory White made the tackle, incidentally. But, Kyle, next week we will be right back here at Bailey Stadium following the Division I playoff, which ends up in a championship. Concord will be hosting the North Piedmont Conference champion Thomasville Bulldogs. So that has been confirmed, so we'll be back on hand here again next week. Slotted right this time for the Wonders. 3 minutes and 16 seconds to go. They reverse it this time. Here comes Boss getting out of some traffic. 43-yard line, bumped out of bounds at the 44-yard line. He got out of all kinds of trouble, and then Scotty Boulware caught him from behind. Tommy Mormon, look at that. That's one of the reasons, Kyle, the Spiders have been so tough defensively all year. 60 unassisted tackles. He's had 4 fumble recoveries, and I tell you, he's following in some fine footsteps, Concord tradition. Some of his family members have played. T. Mormon, his father.
Up at Duke University, T was a starting center for Duke University.
2 minutes, 38 seconds to go. Concord that close to victory as Williams cuts it back up the center, 45, 48-yard line. I'll tell you one thing about this. Hong Tran, number 10, making the tackle for the Wonders. They've not given up.
They certainly have not. I tell you, I can't say enough good things about Barry Rice for the Wonders. Every time he gets his hands on the ball, you just get the feeling something is going to happen. Like on that kickoff return, one tackler away from a score. He is just so explosive. His brother Robin was the same way.
3rd down and 8 as they slot it to the right this time. 2 wide outs for Klutz and company as he spins, fakes, and now he's going to go down. Defensive play. Boy, I tell you, it was Ron Minkish, number 60, all over Klutz in the backfield, back at the 43-yard line. You look at Kannapolis, going to go 8-2. The regular season rebuilding year for Bob Boswell Wonders. I tell you, they dropped the last 2 to South and Concord, but
and
what a fine year.
What a year. Who would not be happy with an 8-2 record and beat some fine other teams, Lexington, Statesville, to mention a few, and Bob Boswell lost a lot of starters out of last year's team, came back and has had a good team this year.
Here's Klutz going it long this time. Had a receiver overthrown at about the 25-yard line. That'll stop the clock with 1:19 to go. Concord, everybody picked him preseason to take the South Piedmont Conference Championship. As you look at a very happy Concord Spider fan, they may have just gotten that, depending on what's out there. No worse than co-champions. They may win it outright, depending on what happened at Wadesboro tonight. But certainly, they're going to get that victory bell coming back on the gold and black side of the field from the Wonders. Always a customary exchange of the bell. Concord's going to take over the football and just run it out, leading 27-7. We'll have Coach E.Z. Smith try to get him. I know there's going to be some folks on the field, and Buddy King's work is cut out for him. The Spiders just keep it on the ground, down to the Wonder 41-yard line. Darrell Steele, number 60, and Brent Pless, number 65. So a lot of seniors going to be unhappy for Kannapolis, playing their final Kannapolis-Concord ball game, but who knows what's going to happen. We were talking about that other game down in Wadesboro. The Wonders may be in the playoffs and not know it right now. We certainly don't, but you folks do at home. As we go inside a minute to go, what a wild post-game celebration we're going to have on the Concord side of the field tonight, Kyle.
But if South Rowan loses, do they not tie Kannapolis? And since they beat Kannapolis, would they?
Right.
South Rowan
Okay.
not
Right. Excuse me. My mistake. Your correction. The Spiders running in. They're making an announcement trying to keep people off the field. You think it's going to work?
We saw a crowd last week on the field, folks. We're going to be quiet and just let you witness it right here. The 53rd meeting between Concord and Kannapolis.
As we tick down close to 10 seconds, we're going to let some happy Concord fans count it off for you right now. Final score, 27-7. The Spiders are going to get the bell, and they're going to go to the Division I playoffs that you'll see next week on the TV 13 Game of the Week postseason play, the first round of the North Carolina State 3A football champions. They'll take on the Thomasville Bulldogs. We'll be right back.
season this fall with fashion from Belk. Pendleton presents tradition at its best. The stage is set in pure wool. A tartan dirndl skirt under a legendary flannel blazer. Add a cable knit sweater for a scene that demands rave reviews. With special attention on the richness and comfort pure wool gives. An incomparable performance. Fashion is on your horizon with Pendleton, now starring at Belk.
If there's anybody out there who's never tried pan pizza at Pizza Hut, boy, are you missing something. If you miss pan pizza at Pizza Hut,
Well, look at the cheese.
you're missing all that cheese.
Don't believe it.
Like the tasty toppings of your first won't be the last of that. So give it a try at your hometown Pizza Hut.
Back at Bentley Stadium, you see the middle of the field, the customary exchanging of the bell, and a lot of sportsmanship from the Kannapolis and Concord players. You hate one another when you're out there fighting it out on the football field, but these two towns getting together once a year for a spectacle like this, and I tell you, it's worth every bit the price of admission, and maybe even more. Kannapolis going to turn it over. I think I have a strong feeling, Kyle Hampton, that bell is going to be painted before midnight tonight.
And I've got the glasses on Coach E.Z. Smith. He is right out there taking the lead in trying to get that bell, and a lot of happy Concord football players out in the middle of the field.
An exciting game tonight. It was pretty close first half. It was close, in fact. A tough game. 7-7. Jeff Irby broke off in the last couple of minutes of the first half with an 82-yard run. 13-7 our halftime score. And as you said, it was just all Concord, and it was a game. The games are won on the offensive and defensive lines. And certainly, if you had to pick a player of the game on an individual, looking at some stats, you got to go with Scott Irby. But he'll be the first to admit he couldn't have done it without that offensive line, and they pushed back some Kannapolis defensive people tonight that it's been quite a few years since the Bob Boswell team has been pushed around on the field like that.
And you've got to think back to that first half when Kannapolis had at least 2 chances way down in there to possibly score. And you think about those missed opportunities.
You know, Easy's kind of a big guy. Some of his players had a tough time getting him up.
I know. I think he'd just rather walk around. It may hurt one of his players trying to pick him up.
Believe it or not, Buddy King, our field reporter, is somewhere in the middle of all that humanity.
Is that Buddy they're lifting up there?
Oh, man. 27-7. Concord happy folks going into the state playoffs next week as the Division I representative. And we'll have it all for you here on TV 13.
And I guess he has gotten his wish. We may possibly have an E.Z. Smith show this week.
Well, I see Buddy breaking out of the crowd. Easy's being escorted out of the crowd, and he's held up momentarily by some happy Concord fans. And as always, you look down on the other end of the field, Kyle. Win or lose or draw, regardless, rain, snow, sleet, the wonders of Coach Bob Boswell doing their post-game calisthenics, as always, and it's got to be a empty feeling down there on that side of the line. Sometimes you forget about the losers in the ball game, but they came in winners, going out winners. Fine season, 8-2.
I tell you, who wouldn't be happy with an 8-2 season? A lot of high schools don't do that in a couple of years, don't get 8 wins in a couple of years. As Coach Boswell was telling us before our show this week, all he had coming back on offense was a starting backfield. He lost just about everything across the offensive and defensive lines, and
there goes the bell.
He's done a heck of a job.
That thing's going to be...
And look who's out front there, Scott Irby.
Well, I guess it should be that way. You think back, and you look at the JV team, the Kannapolis JV team, undefeated this year. Reinforcements on the way next year for the varsity, so we're going to have another wing dinger like we had tonight. Kannapolis and Concord could very well come down. 2 teams again for the South Piedmont Conference Championship playoff spots at the line. 2 fine programs. I tell you, consistency, E.Z. Smith, Bob Boswell, 2 class acts. Okay, I think we're about ready to go to Buddy King, who is field side just a couple of seconds. 27-7 your final score. It's been Scott Irby tonight, as we said. Let's go field side. Very happy, E.Z. Smith with Buddy King.
Okay, we're here with the winning coach, Coach E.Z. Smith. Congratulations. It's got to be the biggest victory of your career so far.
Well, buddy, it is. I've been here 4 years, and you know, it's hard to do. It's hard to do something like that, but our players came through. Pat's been behind me all the way. It's hard to be a coach's wife. My mom's been with me, my family. The only person I miss is my dad. My dad, I would love for him to have been here, but I know he was with me up there in heaven.
Yeah, I know he was. Scott played a terrific game tonight. What are your thoughts on Scott and the rest of the team so far?
Well, you know, we have 3 super running backs. If they try to key on one of them, we're going to go to somebody else. Scott Irby took the challenge tonight. We tried to give them a little misdirection because they over-pursue. They're aggressive. They're real quick. They were running a little bit past. Scott was coming up under him. He made 2 super runs, and then toward the end of the ball game just kept the ball for us. I think he had close to 200 yards.
200?
Yeah, they told me he had 194 before the last carry.
That's great. Pat, how do you feel tonight?
Oh, just great. You know, you just don't have any words for a victory like this. But you know, Sonny, this is what it's all about, isn't it?
That's right, that's right. Coach, I know you want to get with your team. You told me you were going to meet me over here tonight, so
I got it done. Before the ball game, I had a good feeling that we were going to come over here and talk to you. And, you know, our players are super now. We've got to start preparing for Thomasville. They're the North Piedmont Conference champion. Our goal is to beat them, go into the second round of the playoffs. But they're a super team ranked 4th in the state. You know, we got beat earlier by Central Cabarrus. I think that was good for us because we beat the 2 teams we had to beat in South Rowan and Kannapolis. They're the main 2 teams in the state, and I'm just proud of being here at Concord. Thank you for covering Concord football, buddy.
Coach, we'll cover you next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, guys, back up to you in the booth.
It may be some sort of record. He said it twice tonight, didn't he? Let's see the final stats, unofficial. Carl Clearwater doing a great job. And once again, I believe the running yardage, Concord versus Kannapolis, just invert those as well your passing yardage, 120 yards. First downs, turnovers a big part, but penalty-free ball game. We look, Scott Irby unofficially 207 yards on 16 carries. Is that 16 carries? We'll check it. 270 yards is a career, Kyle. Unbelievable.
And very few penalties, as we said, only 4 penalties in the whole game, so a very error-free football game.
25 carries, 207 yards. Your final score, 27-7. Back with a wrap-up on the TV 13 Game of the Week. Stay with us.
Have no fear, Bubba's here. What seems to be the problem? You're right about that. This old clunker's had it for sure. Simmons Toyota has just what you need. Come on.
Bubba, wait! Nothing worse than ignorance in action. They wanted directions to the Pizza Palace.
Pizza?
Unexpected a Simmons Toyota most rewarding.
Does he like pepperoni?
Toyotas to go at Jim Simmons Concord.
Next time you check your tires and they're really showing wear, head for Punchy's Place. You'll find great service there. Whitaker sells tires and mag wheels too, with bargain prices on everything, used and new. For as little as $50, buy a set of used mag wheels or trade in your old set. You won't find a better deal. From Charlotte, head to Concord on Highway 29. Go 3 lights past the Speedway. It's easy to find. Whitaker Speed and Custom Shop.
And remember, we offer great prices throughout the store and have specially priced items as well.
You found them!
Yep, we found your message.
Those are lots of delicious orange crush.
Now crush is even better.
Save us some.
Ah, fresher, more orangey tasting.
Save us some.
Crush's all-natural flavors are really delicious.
Why didn't you save us some?
Well, they also made it more irresistible. But there's more on board.
Orange lovers have a new crush on us.
We saved you some.
Back we are, as you see some happy folks filing out. Massive traffic jam around Concord High School. Over 10,000 fans witnessed the 1983 Concord-Kannapolis football game. Concord, the better team tonight, 27-7. And, of course, they'll meet Thomasville here next week. Okay, that is the final score. Just been informed South Rowan beat Wadesboro Bowman 14-6, so they will go into the Division II playoffs at the opposite side. They'll be up in at a North Piedmont school next week. So we're going to try to cover as many of the local teams. Hope South and hope Concord go all the way and get a chance to see them. But got to go with the Division I team because there is a championship, state champion going to be determined in that, and they'll be right down here next week in Bailey Stadium against the Thomasville Bulldogs.
And you know, Easy Smith likes that home cooking. He's going to be at home, and if they play next week like they played this week, keep that enthusiasm, they're going to be tough.
It really is. We had a good ball game tonight. A lesson in how to run the football by Scott Irby. Boy, I tell you, if we had an award, he would be our player of the game. This has been the South Piedmont Conference Football Game of the Week, brought to you by Sundrop, Whitaker Speed and Custom Shop, WEGO and WPEG Radio, by Jim Simmons Pontiac, Pizza Hut, and by Belk, Carolina Mall Concord. Once again, you see tonight's final score. The Spiders bring the bell back to Concord, a 27-7 win over the A.L. Brown Wonders of Kannapolis. As we said, we'll be back next week with the first round of the Division I State High School playoffs, as Concord will be hosting the North Piedmont Conference champion Thomasville Bulldogs. For Kyle Hampton, Buddy King, and the entire production staff, this is Paul Winston saying so long for Visions TV 13.
Visions TV 13 presents SPC Headliners, brought to you by the Home Decorator Center, 487 Corbett Avenue in Concord, and by the Holiday Ice Rink, Southridge Avenue in Concord. Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Winston, along with Kyle Hampton, welcoming you to the first ever live edition of SPC Headliners, as we talk this week about the renewal,